I'm Allie Madden.
I'm Claire Markwood.
I'm Tanner Martinez.
And I'm Sophia Weinstein, and we are the Microbead Lead Group.
To start off, what is a microbead? Well, a microbead is a tiny piece of plastic that brands use in personal care products, such as toothpaste and face washes. After use, microbeads get washed down the drain and end up at waste treatment plants. Please raise your hand if you've ever been to our local waste treatment plant. Well, that's great, but when microbeads get there, they're supposed to get treated out, but they're just too small because they're less than 5 millimeters long. So they slip right through and land in our oceans. As microbeads travel through water, they attract toxins because they act like sponges. So when they're in the oceans, some fish mistake them as food, and so they eat the microbead along with all the toxins in it. Please raise your hand if you like to eat fish. Well, as you can see, this becomes a major environmental and health concern. I learned all of this in my research presentation on what is the life of one microbead.
For my research presentation, I learned how microbeads impact marine mammals' health by causing different behavioral changes. I also learned how microbeads impact our health.
I looked into the impact that microbeads and toxins had on our non-ocean environment, being soil and freshwater, and how that can sometimes be even more dangerous than in our oceans.
I explored different care product companies that are using alternatives to microbeads and which marine life organizations are preventing plastic from getting into our oceans.
I looked into the many reasons why we're preventing microbeads from entering our ocean and why we should educate you on it.
This semester, I looked into what laws and regulations we have against microbead usage and when they were put into place. This information helped us understand what people know and need to know about microbead use.
Throughout our project, we kept our sights set on two main goals: to inform and take action. In order to inform, we wanted to present at the Lawrence Hall of Science and local elementary schools. That way, we'd not only be educating 2nd and 3rd grade students in their own classrooms, but we'd be reaching a broader audience at the Lawrence Hall of Science. We also wanted to create something convenient and accessible that we could put our information into. And with the help of Naomi from SEI and inspiration from the commonly known seafood watch cards, we ended up creating pocket information cards with the lists of products that contained microbeads and the ones that didn't, so consumers could make educated choices. Finally, we knew we wanted to get our hands dirty and take some real action, so we took to our local shores to pick up trash.
Some of our most effective strategies included dividing up work evenly, allowing us to finish around the same time, early communication with event holders to get us a jump start on events, performing before anyone else, as well as that we tried to think of new ideas to set us apart from every other group. And we also created roles for one another to kind of know what we're doing when we're together.
For our public components, we had a cleanup at Miller Creek Middle School with students from Miller Creek. We also had a pledge that people signed from the Lawrence Hall of Science, people in our neighborhoods, as well as students from Vallecito. In addition, we also contacted brands that use microbeads, such as Garnier and Clean and Clear, and we talked to them about the effects the microbeads have on our oceans, our environment, as well as our health.
This semester, we struggled with attendance because we all had other priorities and extracurricular activities, which made our time together minimal. Because of this, we learned to manage and organize our time very well so we could all attend group events. We struggled with communication because a lot of the big companies we emailed didn't email us back. Also, when we were trying to present at museums, some of them didn't respond or didn't stay in contact. I feel like we could have done better with organizing our plans for this semester because in the beginning, we made a lot of stretch goals, which we later had to make into much more achievable and realistic goals. And by the middle mark, we had to look at our plans and reassess to decide who was doing what and what was happening when.
Because all of us were so busy, we decided to host many different events so all of us could present. Adding on, we reached out to different organizations earlier on so we could present at their certain locations. Lastly, we came up with realistic goals because we wanted to make sure that we achieved certain tasks this semester.
To gather our measurable results, we had to do quite a bit of math for a few things. Others we had to gather direct numbers from. We also had to set up many events to campaign our fight against microbeads and inform students and passerbyers alike. As well as that, we also had to partner with another lead group, in which we had chosen the Zero Waste group, in which we had done a beach cleanup at Miller Creek Middle School.
We had many accomplishments this semester, including making a pledge, handing out cards, and hosting many events. We first went to Vallecito Elementary School and educated 2nd and 3rd graders about the harmful effects of microbeads. We played fun games with them so they could physically see how quickly microbeads reach the ocean. We then did a beach cleanup at Miller Creek Middle School with the Zero Waste School Supplies group and the 8th graders that went to Miller Creek. We decided to collaborate with the Zero Waste group because we're both focusing on the same idea, which is preventing plastic from getting into our oceans and our environment. This also gave the 8th graders a great opportunity to receive volunteer hours and get a deeper understanding of microbeads overall. We then went to the Lawrence Hall of Science and educated people on the effects of microbeads and how they can prevent using them in their daily lives. We got many signatures and handed out many cards. Lastly, we went to Keller Beach and collected many bags of trash and continue our campaign against microbeads.
Throughout our project, we focused a lot on measurable results and worked hard to incorporate them into almost everything we did. At both of our cleanups at Keller Beach and Miller Creek combined, we picked up a total of 20 trash bags and had 15 local 8th grade volunteers helping us. By the end of our project, we handed out 200 of our informational pocket cards, and thanks to all of our presentations and events we held, we managed to educate 280 people.
In addition, we got 75 signatures from our pledge. Our pledge was to not use microbeads for 1 year. We also wanted to calculate how many microbeads we saved from going to our oceans. So we found the average amount of microbeads that one person uses in a year, and we multiplied this number by the number of signatures we got. This led us to the number we got, 68,755,000 microbeads that we saved from going to our oceans. If each microbead is lined up one by one, and they are each 1 millimeter long, then in total they are 42 miles, about the distance from San Rafael to San Jose.
For next steps, future groups or groups with similar projects should continue educating people about microbeads, and that the best way to combat this issue is to stop them from entering at the source. Promoting microbead-free brands and making this information readily available, like we did with our pocket cards, is another great option. One thing our group wished we had more time to do was to contact big brands and try to turn them microbead-free. We started to email and call companies like Clean and Clear, Johnson & Johnson, and Neutrogena, but partnering with them and ensuring they go microbead-free would be a great new project.
I feel like my collaboration skills improved quite a bit this semester. This was due to the fact that everyone in our group had such high ambitions and big ideas that it was much easier to work together rather than butt heads. It was also very clear that there wasn't just one leader in our group, and that led to a very collaborative couple of months.
I grew in creativity because we had to think of different ideas that had never been done before in this project. This required contacting organizations to spread the word about microbeads.
With this lead project, I was able to grow my communication skills. In other projects, when a deadline came up or a major aspect of the project was due, I would just offer to do all the work myself, because then I knew I'd get it done. But with this group, everyone was willing and able to help and contribute, so we divided up the work and got way better results, forcing us to communicate more.
This year, I believe I developed the most in creativity. This is mainly because we tried to be different this year, making my teammates encourage me and try to make me think more outside of the box of what I normally think of, flexing my creative muscles.
This semester, I feel like I grew in communication because I was a little bit quiet in the beginning of the project, but I slowly realized that there's no I in team, and I had to talk and share my ideas with my group members if I wanted us to get the best result by the end of the project. Improving on this skill made our team that much better because it made us all more organized and ready to work together.
This semester, I think I've improved the most on critical thinking. In the past, when I would experience a challenge, I would tend to just get frustrated, and I wouldn't try to problem solve to get past it. However, this semester, we had so many stretch goals to visit many museums, and we weren't able to accomplish all these goals. So we used critical thinking skills, and we contacted other places to present.
I want to say a big thank you to Tony Grimes, our parent partner, and Sahar Golshani, our community partner, for helping us organize and decide what we want to do with this project. Thank you to Elizabeth Moore, the Vallecito Elementary School principal, for letting us educate and present to her students. Thank you to Rebecca Albright and Michelle Rodriguez, the Lawrence Hall of Science and Academy of Science representatives, for staying in contact with us and helping us out with presenting at their events. And a big thank you to the SCI representatives, Cyan and Naomi, for making this project possible.
This is our creative video.
We should call 911. Hi, I'm off-topic Olga. I'm physically big and have a hard time making connections to help Riley through.
Hi, I'm doubtful Debbie. When I run into a problem, instead of problem solving and facing it head on, I tend to just get frustrated.
Hi, I'm controlling Caroline, and I'd love to know what's happening and make sure I'm a part of it. I'm always busy doing stuff for other people because then I know I'll get it done.
Hi, I'm Sarah Taylor.
I'm very quiet. I don't share my ideas.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I like to talk about anything and everything. And that can lead to people not feeling heard and getting off task. Well, it couldn't have been me, because this semester, my talk-a-lot tendencies turned into collaboration. There was a time when my group was planning how we would design our cards, and instead of talking over
I killed it.
I'm so glad we're working.
Oh yeah! I remember our lead group. The only thing I would change though is being able to contact those big brand sooner so we could have scheduled meetings with them.
I thought the experience of working in this group was a lot of fun and pretty easy because everyone was excited to help and took their ideas.
Adding on is something to the meeting because we all conquered it as a group rather than individually.
I thought this project was really successful because we had a lot of measurable results from our cards, visiting schools, museums, and our two-piece groups. Yeah, and everybody in our project group was willing to make it the best it could be, so we all worked very hard.
Coming into this project, we all had pretty similar ideas, making it easy for us to come together as a team and work together.
Thanks for helping us solve the mystery. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Any questions?
So great job. I loved it. I love what you guys, and I'm so impressed that you went to MarinSEL Science. So how many people were there, number one? And when you were talking with people, were people already aware of microbeads, or do you really feel like you made a significant difference in increasing awareness about microbeads? And
So there were only about like 20 people. That's because we kind of went in the afternoon and it was dying down. However, the people that we did educate had no idea about like anything, that microbeads were even a thing. So we were able to talk to them and give them our card, and they were way more aware now. So hopefully they took that with them.
fantastic.
Yeah, adding on, a lot of them signed our pledge to not use microbeads for a year.
That's great. Awesome.
We also had a big sale at Scotty's, and we had our cards with us, and whenever someone bought something, we would give them a card, and we'd ask them, do you know what microbeads are? And they had no idea, so those are our pledge, what Tanner is holding, what Allie's holding, and we got our goal for my pledges, signatures we got.
And did you send the pledge to, like, did you send them to anywhere, or did you
We
do?
them everywhere we presented.
Yeah.
But you didn't like send it to a company to tell them. But great job.
What was one of the greatest obstacles you guys encountered when trying to educate people on this issue? And what advice would you give to future groups about going about with an educational campaign?
Well, I think one of the struggles we ran into in educating is that, like, even a lot of the stuff we have on our cards, it's like the brands will put out some products that have microbeads and some that don't. So if we give someone a card and we're like, oh, don't use like Colgate, they could be like, so like I can't brush my teeth, or like I can't use any of this, and it takes time to explain, like, oh, well, it's listed in the ingredients, and you have to look hard, and you have to do all these things, so it was hard to get that message across to people.
As well as that, many of the products that do not contain microbeads at all are very not mainstream. Nobody really knows them. Nobody really uses them.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to find those products in stores would be really difficult.
Yeah.
Tips for future groups when going about an educational campaign?
I feel like we should just be really educated on what we're talking about and make sure we know all the answers to everybody's questions.
Sure.
And I think for like next steps, I think that future groups should really contact brands that use microbeads more, because we called them and we talked to like some people, but they didn't even know what microbeads are. So maybe contacting other brands and like talking to those companies would be a great next step.
Any other questions for this group?
So microbeads are not necessarily listed on the product, is that correct?
They're listed under different names, usually like polyethylene, polypropylene, polymethylmethacrylate.
Is there a comprehensive list of products that have microbeads in it or that don't have microbeads in it?
I mean, we made our cards. It's kind of all over the board, though. You never really know nowadays. But these are like the general brands you can look for when you're shopping.
And our goal was to make them like this size so that we're able to keep them in your wallet or like somewhere that's accessible when you're shopping or going somewhere to buy these products.
Do you have any extra cards today?
Yeah, we
Maybe
do.
some
We
of the
do.
adults in the room would enjoy having in their wallets.
We do.
Right.
All right, while I pass, do we have a question right here? Or you want just want a card? Yeah.
Oh, wait, Joe
Another
has
quick
a
one.
question over
You
there.
got
I
a
also
question?
heard that clothing has microplastic fibers in that every time we wash. Does that enter your research at all? Or is that, it's pretty much focused on clean products, toothpaste and stuff like that?
Well, we really focus mainly on care products, but nowadays, since companies are expanding and money is a big part of that, a lot of companies overall for everything kind of just want to go the cheaper route. So that's very likely that's going to be in a lot of our weapons.
What do you do now? How do you continue to get the word out about microbeads, and how do you pass on your research to the next group?
Well, I think it's all about, like what Ali was saying, when we went to Lawrence Hall of Science, no one really knew. So I think it's all about like making your personal choices to influence other people, along with like if we make the cards on like a bigger scale type thing, or like share the like what you mentioned, the pledges on a bigger scale, because then you can just really get the word out to as many people as you can.
And that's just something, a recommendation for all of the students. You can do petitions that are directed, so you don't have to actually reach the company. You do a petition online, and then it gets directed to whoever you're targeting, and that can make a big difference. So in the future.
Round of applause for this group. We're gonna pass out your cards.